it felt like we had tried everything. I will continue a little bit on just some of the diagnoses through there. Where was I going? At one point I ate only blended food. My digestion, I was so tired and so fatigued. It was hard for me to eat whole meals because it was just it made me so fatigued, and that is when the hard things would happen. And so I blended most of my food, which helped me not feeling as tired when after eating. I monitored my blood sugar 2 to 3 times a day. Through blood tests, we found that I had low blood sugar and or high. It just really depended on what I ate, and like it would fluctuate one extreme to the other. There was no like balance in it. And so they wanted me to try medication. They wanted me to try medication for that as well. And it was at that point that I had a friend that said, you know, have you ever considered these gut health supplements, that he's heard a lot of good things about it, and they were actually designed to help with diabetes, and one of the drinks are to help with blood sugar. And he said, I'm not actually like, I don't know a ton about him. He is starting to take it just for some of his health things, and he wondered if I would be open to talking with a lady that knew more about it. And I was very skeptical, and I kind of, in the beginning I said no because I don't have finances. I'm just not going to. And then it came back, and the more I prayed about it, I was like, that it was just something I knew that this is what I'm supposed to do. And trust me, my faith in supplements at that point, in medication, in doctors, in the medical anything, was very, very low. My trust in them, my faith, like it was just, I was skeptical about everything, but at the same time I was open and willing to try anything that might help. So finally I said yes. I said I would try them. But again, I had committed myself that I'm not going to loan more money. And so I just prayed a lot about it. And God provided financially to start taking these supplements. And they wanted my medical doctor, MD doctor, wanted me to put me on medication for this heart issue and for the blood sugar issues. And I had just got done trying, I want to say at least 7 different medications for some of the same things. And I knew I tried over a dozen different medications over the years. The medications had so many side effects. There were times when I took the medications just a few days and I was a complete mess. And when I say a mess, like crying and just a mess, and going into traumatic, like feeling just out of my mind almost, and I could not get myself to continue. Well, or I would call the doctor and he would try to me another one, and it was at that point that I told my doctor, I said, I really want to try these supplements first. And I know with my blood sugar that I want to do more research on food. I was following the Trim Healthy Mama food plan. I don't know if you guys are familiar. It's a really healthy food plan for anyone would benefit from it. It's the one that I still follow. And I was following that to some extent. But I told him I want to do more research on blood sugar and food. And I want to see if I can't control it just with food and these supplements. And he wasn't really convinced. He tried to convince me to take more medication, and I just said I don't want to. I really don't want to. And so he said, well, maybe I could come back in a month or two and see where my blood sugar numbers are at. And I got a monitor. I had been monitoring my blood sugar, so it wasn't like I would be keeping track of it. And I started these supplements, and I was hopeful. after I read a lot of testimonies about them, and I heard my friend's story, this new friend, the lady that I had, and her kids had a tremendous testimony of these supplements. And so I started taking them, and I would say the first weeks I didn't feel a lot different. There was one thing that stands out to me at that point, and I wish I would have written down a lot of more of the details of how I felt, because later I'm like, people, recognize things and I'm like, oh yeah, I used to feel that way. But there were so many, what I want to say, small things. Like one was me being able to stand up. So this is bringing up a lot of memories. So I was at my parents' and they had baby puppies, and they just have like a family dog. They don't raise puppies. The family dog had puppies, and so they brought him in the house for us to hold and whatever. And I was standing holding a puppy, and one of my siblings just looked up and were like, "You're okay standing?" Because I never would have been able to stand that long, and I didn't feel like I was gonna topple over. Like there was just something different, and that was kind of the first thing I noticed. But I don't. At that point, I was at a place in my life where I didn't trust that was actually almost real, because I had so many setbacks and so many times where I thought something might help, and then it wasn't. But after week, a month and a half later, I went back to get my blood work done for the blood sugar and the lipid panels, things that I did regularly, and I had gained 7 pounds. Actually, I don't think I even mentioned that. Yeah, I skipped quite a bit of this. How about that? I had lost 45 pounds from at one point, and my lowest health, I was always small, like petite, more so. I'm 5'4", and I was down quite a bit, under 100 pounds. I had lost 45 pounds from what I had been when I was 16, before all of this started. And so coming back to that doctor's office, I had realized within that month and a half that I had gained 7 pounds. And my numbers showed in the blood test that he was like, your blood sugar is looking really good. There were a few different numbers that are balancing out. So some of my protein levels and my calcium and just all of the regular lipid panel were like starting to come into balance. My cholesterol was very high at one point, and it was like that is starting to come down. Some things that were low were starting, my thyroid, and some of the things that were low were starting to come up. And he was like, I remember him telling me, keep doing what you're doing. Like, I don't know what you're doing, because I had told him no about medications. But that was huge, seeing those numbers. And I had 2 different doctors. I was seeing like specialists and different doctors for different things. They were like, keep doing what you're doing, you're making progress. I knew I was going to keep doing what I'm doing. And so there was something that I missed here that I see was the anxiety part of it and the nervous breakdowns. And so this was mostly before I left the Amish. I had a number of anxiety attacks. I had nervous breakdowns a few times, and at the time I didn't understand what it was. I had been on medication for some time for anxiety, and my anxiety actually got worse during that time. It just kind of numbed me to where I didn't feel it, but then when I did feel it, I would get nausea and just really not feel well. So it was like a band-aid. It was put on top where I didn't feel it, but when I actually finally quit, I could feel the anxiety and work with it better. And so nervous breakdowns and anxiety were a big part of my life. And so after I started these products, my heart no longer beat differently. That was one of the first things I noticed, was like I just felt more stable. my mood and my energy. I didn't have a ton of like boost of energy right away. It was gradual, but I just felt stabilized. My blood sugar, I was still testing it for a while, and my blood sugar started balancing out, and it took some time. But the endocrine system, that was the other thing. My endocrine system had crashed as well. When I didn't get sick anymore, I was complete autoimmune, and so everything that was bad was just like I didn't actually get sick anymore and fight those things. My body had shut down, which was complete autoimmune. So now coming forward, 4 or 5 years, I do not test my blood sugar. I'm not on any medications. I never went back after I told my doctor I don't want to try more medications. I have not taken one medication. I eat full meals. I still have the same food plan as I was eating back before I started these supplements. I was eating very healthy and a very healthy food plan, and so I still do that. I did notice that I don't snack as much. Before the supplements, I was snacking constantly, even if it was healthy stuff, nuts, fruits, vegetables. But I realized that I don't buy a lot of snacks because I'm just not like, I don't have those cravings. I now feel content. I can eat a meal, fairly small meal. I actually eat less than I used to.